Mr. President, dear Wilfred, dear President Basescu, dear Traian, dear Romanian hosts. When I look at this edifice, I recall a politician who, perhaps in this very place, broke records in the lengthiness of speeches. His name was Nicolae Ceausescu. He would get his citizens very irritated, also perhaps by the lengthiness of his speeches. But, the finale that he came to, his political career came to, it was rather sad, and that is reason enough for me to speak very briefly today. But in these brief words, I would like to say a few things which are perhaps most important for Europe today. Do you know what hypocrisy means in politics? Hypocrisy appears when a politician says more Europe, but the following day, the same politician says a smaller European budget. Hypocrisy also appears when a politician says more Europe, but on the following day he says need for this integrating Europe with difficulty to split up into two organisms, into the Eurozone and to the zone that is just going to be entered by new members. Hypocrisy is also when, and here in Bucharest, they particularly remember this, when the same politician says more Europe, but on the following day he says not all European states should be in the Schengen zone. Frankly speaking, this is the absolute peak of hypocrisy. Today we have gathered here as the most important political community in Europe under the heading, "The answer is more Europe." I deeply believe in the sense of such an answer. I do not believe those who, when they gather under such headlines, they treat them as empty slogans, because once they leave such conventions, the following day they do all in their might, or a lot in their might, so that these slogans become ridiculed and not the essence of our policy. For that reason, I would call on all the delegates, all those present here in this hall, because believe me, you do have an influence on your leaders. You do have an impact on what they're saying, but also on what they're doing. Do not let them, when we leave here the next day in Brussels, by saying more Europe, decisions are made about a smaller budget, blocking the cohesion policy, or blocking new members to the Schengen zone, etc., etc. It is really up to you, too. Do not make it possible for Europe to be dominated with hypocrisy, because if hypocrisy triumphs, then this common Europe and our dreams, the dream of those who would want to be in this common Europe, this dream will turn out to be an empty slogan and a fiction. I'm convinced, and I speak to you every day, and I'm convinced that you are able to prevent this black scenario from happening. Our answer is more Europe, but never more hypocrisy. Thank you very much.